I am a massive fan of video games, in case you somehow couldn't tell, but there's always been one part of video games that I love but have never participated in, and that is console mods. So I thought to myself, hey, I like modding content, I like video games, I'm pretty sure I can teach myself how to use a soldering iron, I'm gonna mod a console. But dear viewer, I must warn you, the title of this video is no lie. This was an unequivocal disaster. And the ending will be, to some of you, pretty unsatisfying. But if you stick around, I think you will find something to like here. So, let's jump in. So the first part of making any console mod is obviously picking what mod you're gonna make. And I ended up settling on something called a Game Boy macro. Now what this is basically you take an original DS or a DS Lite, you rip off the top screen, you solder in some stuff, and bada bing bada boom. You've made a DS that can only play Game Boy Advance games. So, I went onto eBay to look for a sacrificial DS Lite that we could transform into this mod. I wanted to find something that was already broken, something I wouldn't feel too bad about, ripping to shreds and modifying, so I took a look. Eventually, I found the perfect one for around $20, a metallic pink one, came with a charger, came with a carrying case, everything. It looked like it had dead pixels too. It was fantastic. So I ordered it and awaited patiently for its arrival. So, we've got a small problem with this DS that I bought on eBay here. See, the problem is that it's actually too good. When I bought it, it looked like it had dead pixels on the bottom screen, so I could just swap out the screens and it'd be perfectly handy dandy, perfectly fine. This thing doesn't have a single dead pixel on it. It was just dirty. So, we have a dilemma. Do I destroy this really beautiful system? I mean, genuinely, aside from the physical, scratches, this is in magnificent condition. Oh, it's beautiful. Do I destroy this, or do I tear down my personal daily, use DS? This thing is an original 2004 model. It's pretty chunky, obviously, but I use this. This is my personal use DS, but it does have dead pixels on the top screen. It's in worse technical condition. So I destroy that, despite it being my personal DS, or destroy this, despite it being in absolutely perfect condition. So, a small hiccup there, of course, but nothing major yet. I decided that it would be best to modify my original 2004 DS. It was in worse shape technically after all. So, with that decision made, it was on to the teardown. Little bit of a different angle here, trying something out new in general, I guess, so it's good to have a top-down angle for this. I've got this, I've got screwdriver and bits and a pry tool that I'll be disassembling this all with, hopefully not breaking anything inside, but there's a chance. And then I have this lunchbox container that I stole from my dining hall that I will be putting all the internals in, so that way when I paint this shell, I will have somewhere to place the internals. Again, hopefully not damaging them. So let's tear it down. Ah, dang it, I tore the wire. That makes it easier, I guess. just...
Yeah, right at the end there, I just tore that delicate ribbon cable. Luckily, it's not required for the mod or anything like that. It's not important. I just wish I'd been more careful with it, you know?
Okay, so, don't question the different shirt. We got all the stuff out of the DS. It definitely didn't take like half an hour or so. Now, I just gotta solder some stuff into that board there. It'll be great, but first, gonna work on this shell. We got a few things to do to it. We gotta take off this hinge bit. We gotta mess around with the back. We gotta make it look pretty. But also I was thinking, this is my personal DS. This was something that I used, I had a lot of fun with, a lot of memories, and something that, you know, it feels like I should do something a little bit special with. Something a little more. So, I ran through a few designs, a few concepts, and I've come up with an Evangelion themed DS design that I think looks pretty sick. And I'm gonna show you how it looks when it's done, because I like the element of surprise. I think it's good to keep you on edge. But yeah, I'm gonna start out by sanding this all down, you know, filling the holes with this epoxy here. And then we're gonna paint it, some spray paint. We're gonna paint the buttons too, make them all fancy and everything. Then we gotta solder some stuff into the board. And then, if I didn't do anything wrong, I can put it back together and it'll all work instead of being broken. So, yeah, let's do that.
And so, I was onto the cosmetic work. Now I wanted this thing to look really fantastic, so that meant lots of sanding and filling and sanding again to make sure that this was pristine before I painted it.
So the first step was to sand down this bit and fill in some gaps with this water weld here. Small issue, as I had my phone beautifully set up to capture the sanding process and the filling process, and of course I forgot to record. But now this needs to dry, this gets sanded down again, and then it gets taken outside, and we're gonna, you know. I've spent about the past week going through this, sanding it down. You can see this is still wet from sanding, but getting it smooth, the texture to be just right. So now, finally, you can be ready for paint.
So after just about a week's worth of sanding and filling and sanding again, it was finally ready to paint, where I would of course meet the third little road bump on this project.
I'm not even gonna pretend that just straight up didn't go well. I had to sand it down. I was too overeager, pretty much. I was pretty frustrated at that with myself. It's disappointing, but sanded it down. It'll be repainted, redone, refinished, made to look better, but at least I got to see the color. The color is pretty good. This obviously is going to be a bit duller because it's sanded and worn down more, but I will have to redo this to make it good because I don't want a mid product or final product. This isn't going to retail.
I was a bit overeager with the spray painting. Rather than doing a bunch of thin coats, I went all in on one big thick coat, and it really frustrated me. Like, I know I'm not meant to do that. I've used spray paint before. You're meant to go slow, and that really put a dent in my mood. It was really annoying to have to go back and sand away all my hard work. It was about this point that I started feeling like this project was a bit cursed, but I was undeterred, and I decided it was time to try my hand at the most dangerous and most risky part, the soldering.
We are going to solder on the connections for this board. Now, if you don't know, we have to solder a little resistor between these two connections here. You can see right to my hands and the DS itself, that is tiny. If you think that's small, these are the resistors, the little black specks. Look at how tiny that is. Yeah, that's gotta go like that, into there. I've never done anything like this. I have a few things to maybe help me, some Krylon tape to hopefully tape it all down. Whew. See, I've never soldered anything before, so I thought I'd go in with an easy project, and let's see if that will focus. What an easy project. That is microscopic. This tape has got that stuck in place. Now that is going to let us do is solder it down, hopefully a bit easier. Hopefully is the correct word with that. I've never used a soldering iron before. I did power this on just earlier and I saw, yeah, this thing rises in temperature really fast. Like, this is way faster than I would have assumed. Yeah, obviously this is super hot, 400 degrees Celsius. For reference, this is a little sponge that comes with it. Instantly touches it, starts steaming. So be careful with the soldering iron, of course. Now, let's begin this. This might not be the clearest shot for you all. Can't tell, I'm also super nervous. My hands are, whew. My hands are shaking. I've never really had the most steady hands, so this will be an experience. Wow. I am jittery. I am, whew. I am jittery. Oh my God. Okay, I need a second to be less jittery, and then, whew, shake it out, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at this. Definitely wasn't meant to get solder up there by the start button. So you can't tell me that these two are not connected. Super hot around there, obviously. So, gonna have to clean up the start button. I'm assuming I can just do that. I can also clean this bit up by just slurp. This is so cool. Like, honestly, this is... Have you guys ever seen Terminator 2, right? When the guy's made out of molten metal? This, doing all this, feels like what watching that is like. That is super messy. It may be connected. Let's peel off the tape. Yeah, baby. We have one connection made. Looking at it close up, this is horrendous. I'm gonna need to obviously clean this up a little. Let's try. Holding this bit now with tweezers instead. Oh no. I have lost the little bit. Oh man. I really have to assume my hands being shaky like this is really not helping. Oh wow. Is that connected? I think that might be connected. Okay, look at that baby. That was tiny, terrifying, and I thought it was not gonna work. Now we're on to the next step, which is connecting this, a speaker. This speaker, however, is a little different from a DS speaker. This is actually a Nintendo Switch speaker, which was recommended because of the better sound quality. But basically, we got to connect red to red, so this to this, SPRO, and then this to ground here. This should be pretty straightforward, especially because this bit is much larger. Get some solder down. Positive is connected to positive. Now ground to ground. There we go. Hey, that was easy. Now I should be able to turn off the soldering iron, let it cool down here, unplug it, because, yeah, and look at this. We got this connection soldered, these ones soldered. The speaker now should just work. As with everything, it's best to test. So I'm gonna really quickly just run and grab everything, test it all out. Really, hopefully, it should all work. Okay, I've got this all hooked up. Looks like it will cause a house fire. Everything should work. We got... Ooh, that's not right. As you can see, the screen's a little fucked up. Off. What's the problem there? So I went through, checked out all the wiring. It should be like this, I think. Or just actually, maybe it should be like, yeah, it's like this. And so we're just gonna see again. The good thing is we have a light there. Ooh, now that light's gone. Ooh, that's a concern. That's a good old concern. Okay, it's not booting.
Yeah, that was just a disaster. It was just a complete disaster. For whatever reason, it just wasn't working. The screen wouldn't turn on even after that first time. The power light wouldn't stay on at all. There was no signs of life within it, which is a big issue if you couldn't tell. I could mess up the cosmetics of this thing so many times and it would be fine. But the main thing I need for this console mod to actually be a console mod and work are the internals, which at this point were kind of kaputs. So I spent a bit of time tinkering around, trying just my best to fix the problem and make sure that it could actually work.
So last night I spent the night troubleshooting with this bad boy. I did a few modifications. The resistor was flipped around to match all the pictures I saw. Thought I had it the right way around. It's a potential problem. And then I removed the speakers, no matter the amount of whatever I saw that said you can use a Nintendo Switch speaker. None of the photos did. I've got this now. I can't test it. And so really we're just gonna have to continue on.
I did my best, I tried what I could, and I just left it, hoping that when I came back and put it all together, the results wouldn't be that the board was dead-zo and that the mod was cooked. All I could do now was hope that when everything came together, it would turn on and work perfectly fine. But now I just had to move forward and try painting again, because that went so very well last time.
Overlooking the lake, spray painting the back, got it taped off for the design. Got all the cans so that the tarp doesn't fly around. Should be good, hopefully. You can probably see with the tape pattern there, the Evangelion look that we're going for. You'll see, you'll see. Front, it's all dry. Looks good. This purple shows up funny still. Just gotta wait.
At this point, it was actually looking pretty good. I mean, like, I was going slow, my paint coats were thin, but going on nicely. The colors were coming out good. You could probably see from the tape, like, the design, the Evangelion-inspired design, and it looked pretty cool in my opinion. It was all going well. It was all going so smoothly. And I mean, at this point, I was sure nothing could possibly go wrong. Everything from this moment out would be completely smooth sailing, and everything would be great.
We've got a dilemma. I was spray painting the buttons. 2 were on there. One of them's in the grass. Big problem. They're getting painted green. In green grass. So wherever the shit it is, this is gonna take a while to look for.
Of course something was going to happen. I mean, I wasn't very subtle about it. Yeah, at this point, I knew the project was just a curse. Each and every step had something go wrong, something that just sucked and couldn't really have done much about. Still, though, I wanted to finish the project, so I got on my hands and knees to look for this tiny little green circle in this grassy field.
I'm not finding this shit. Absolutely. I have been a-checking, and there's a whole lot of nada. I will not lie. I'm feeling pretty defeated right this minute. I am feeling pretty shitty. I chose this project because it was meant to be easy. It was meant to be fun. It was meant to be stress-free. I really like these videos and these channels, so I was like, this would just be a fun little project. has turned into literally the complete opposite of it. Every single step of the way has something. Let's keep trekking. Pretty disappointing. Not really a ton I can do. The button is green in green grass, so it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Unfortunately, it's just not happening. But yeah, I don't really got a but. I am just kind of gonna take a seat here by the lake. It's not really even a lake. It's probably sewer runoff, but turtles live in it. Gonna take a seat by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here and contemplate my life choices.
Yeah, I was pretty knocked down at this point. I mean, every step had something go wrong. First, the DS I ordered was accidentally great, so I had to destroy my original DS, which in the disassembly, I tore that one ribbon cable. And then when I painted it for the first time, that was a complete disaster. And then soldering it, I'm pretty sure that I just completely ruined the mod when I soldered it and just destroyed everything. And then painting it again, when everything finally seemed to be going perfectly right, when everything was going so smooth, I lose a button. A little tiny green button in a sea of grass. I was defeated. I had seen so many videos like this of people making these wonderful console mods. Why was I having these problems? I was done. I was ready in that moment to just pack everything up, just take it all, go back home, and scrap this entire video. I mean, what was the point even in making this video if the console mod didn't even work? If it wasn't perfect? And as I sat there, looking at that river, I realized that the answer is, of course, because it's not perfect. Because I'm still learning. This is just my first attempt. I've never done this before. And I've gotten this far. All these channels I've watched, Shank Mods, Ginger of Oz, The Retro Future, they have had years of experience. But I've had a week's worth of experience, and that week was making this mod. I knew nothing when I launched into this. I was confident, yeah, but I really knew nothing. And look at where it got me now still. I still learned how to disassemble that DS. Even if I tore that ribbon cable, I know what I could have done differently to make sure that it would have been safe. I still learned how to solder things. After this, I fixed my Game Boy, which has had a broken speaker for years at this point, and now I can finally hear it again. The paint job, this second time around, was going so well. The actual shell looked beautiful and fantastic. Despite all my failures with this project, I had still learned new things and made something that I could be proud of. And sitting there on that river, I knew that I just had to finish it.
Okay. Let's see how this turned out. Let's take all the tape off. And let's see how this went. Holy shit. Yeah, this is fucking awesome.
This is my first ever console mod. An Evangelion themed Game Boy Macro XL, made from an original 2004 Nintendo DS. Does it turn on? Does it play any games? Can you press the X button without using a toothpick? No. But I'm still proud of it. So often, while I was making this, I was caught up in why it wasn't perfect and why it wasn't as good as the channels that I watched for fun, that I forgot to have fun with this project in general. So, honestly, I think I'm kind of glad with how it turned out. I think it taught me something important. But don't think for a second I'm just gonna leave this off here as not working. I mean, this shell is too cool to not use on an actual actual working Game Boy macro. I might not have been able to get it working, and I might still be proud of the product that I've made, but that doesn't mean I still don't want to see this working. I have a copy of Pokemon Ruby that I want to play on this thing, goddammit, and again, this shell is so cool looking, man. I want to see a game actually running on it. So consider this a part 1, because a part 2 is going to come where I fix up the internals and make sure that it can work. Because I want to see this thing flourish. I'm proud of this thing, and I can't wait to be even more proud of it when it works. So until next time, see ya.